Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good morning, Your Excellency Reem al-Hashimi. Good morning, Your Excellency Hissa Abu Hamid. Good morning, Your Excellency Badr Ja'far. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, colleagues, friends, and family. We are both honored and excited to have you with us today to celebrate the launch of the Expo City Dubai Foundation. My name is Yasmin Baqir, and I am part of what was the Expo Live program and what is now the Expo City Dubai Foundation. And as such, along with my team, I'm extremely privileged to have experienced firsthand the real-world impact that can be achieved when the right minds, hearts, and resources are brought together. The program started as a promise back in 2013, a promise from Dubai to the world that Expo 2020 Dubai would be an inclusive moment in time for change makers and social entrepreneurs from all around the world and all walks of life to showcase their solutions. In the 8 years since then, we took this promise and turned it into purpose. Through our network of change makers, or global innovators as we call them, we were able to positively impact communities all the way from the jungles of Peru to the Atlas Mountains of Morocco and all the way to the Polynesian island of Tahiti. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to ask you to take a quick moment to glance at the images on the back wall and the images to your right. The 15 faces you see represent a vibrant community of over 190 global innovators driving positive change for our future. The journey alongside them and alongside our partners has been moving, inspiring, humbling, and hopeful. And with the newly established foundation, this journey continues. So with that in mind, we have an exciting agenda ahead. We'll hear from Her Excellency Reem al-Hashimi on her insights and reflections surrounding this transition, as well as esteemed industry experts in the fields of philanthropy, social good, and business, amongst other exciting sessions. Before we kick off, just a few quick housekeeping rules. The washrooms and prayer rooms are located outside in the welcome area to the right of the elevator when facing the elevator. And after the event, you're welcome to a networking session also outside in the welcome area where we encourage you to interact and enjoy some refreshments. And at any point, if you have questions, our team and our volunteers are around to support. Next, we would like to present you with a short video, taking us through some powerful moments all the way from 2013 to present day. Could we roll the video, please?
We have always believed that when you bring people together for a higher purpose, something powerful happens. People rise. They depart from the reality of now and enter the realm of possibilities. It is a human phenomenon to believe in unison that what's to come is better than today. And it is, without hesitation, worth pursuit. As a city born out of such powerful moments, we have embraced this responsibility and made it our mission to connect people, ideas, and resources, not only for a future we wish to see here in the United Arab Emirates, but in communities near and far. Our work has brought together thousands of problem solvers from around the world and enabled a community of those who are bold and ambitious, those who care and do good. Together, we have already positively impacted the lives of 5.8 million people in 92 countries. But together, we can do more. See the world as a place flowing with solutions waiting to be discovered, a community full of determined individuals ready to make their mark, where innovation comes from ingenuity and solidarity. See the world as we see it, and be part of a brighter future.
Thank you very much. I would now like to invite Her Excellency Reem Al-Hashmi, Minister of State for International Cooperation, CEO of Expo City Dubai Authority, and Chairperson of the Expo City Dubai Foundation, to deliver the keynote address. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Yasmin. I'm really excited and proud to be here today. Very proud of the audience that's here, both physically but also online. My friendships with Hassa, with Bedr, with Najla, with really everybody who has been a true supporter but also a true believer in Expo, in Expo City Dubai, and in Expo City Dubai Foundation. So thank you for being present. I'm very happy to be able to launch this with all of you today and really mark an important milestone in the journey of Expo. You got a glimpse of it when you saw the video earlier. There are hundreds more such videos and such stories. And if it says anything, it says that at the very beginning of this project, we also understood that we needed to make impact beyond Dubai or the UAE, that we had to also make impact globally. And so we formed an enduring bond between our city and those who are determined to build a better future. And it is this bond, maybe even this compact, which sits at the very core of our newly established foundation. And so even though the foundation is new, our work certainly isn't. The Expo Live Innovation Programme, which was launched by His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, the Vice President and Prime Minister of the UAE and the ruler of Dubai, empowers those whose innovative solutions pave the way for a better future. And to be able to have touched close to 6 million lives since is a testament not so much to us, but really a testament to the need that exists in the types of solutions that Expo Live provides. The power of entrepreneurship to tackle complex social and environmental challenges really is the way to realize benefit for both the city and the community, but also to create a sustainable commercial model and therefore a positive social outcome. We have many stories to share, but I'll only share a few now. For example, in Argentina, we've learned how technology can help people of determination find dignified work. Or in Ghana, we understood the value, we understood the value, thank you, Ali, thank you. It's okay. A glass maybe would be lovely. In Ghana, we understood the value of reintroducing traditional crops to enrich the soil. And even here in the UAE, we looked at how digital platforms can be used to break barriers in education and in social inclusion. There are countless stories. They always inspire because they always also highlight that there's more that can be done differently and better if we would only just look more closely. And so here we are, having tackled 16 of the 17 SDGs, recognizing that the only way to truly make impact is to focus on community-based, local-based, neighborhood-based solutions that are catered for the context and the environment in which those communities operate in. And by launching this in partnership with others, and here I'd like to highlight our work with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. We've partnered with them since 2018. And since then, we've been able to truly make important and significant change, not only in the 24 enterprises across the Miasa region, but also in our advocacy work with them on causes and purposes that matter. Finally, I'd like to spend a moment really underscoring the work of Dubai's Community Development Authority and highlighting how the ethos, not only of Her Excellency Hissa, who I've had the pleasure of serving alongside, but also the ethos of Dubai that they encapsulate so well, believes strongly in needing to keep doing things better. I believe that if you have this premise as an organization where you're constantly looking for ways to improve and expand your footprint, you find better ways in doing so. And I can think of none other than Hissa's leadership, Her Excellency Hissa's leadership, and the role of the community development in doing so. And so, to those of you out there whose solutions and innovations are looking for a way, be ready, we're coming after you. For the young and ambitious individuals here in the UAE, we are open and we are calling for you. And to those of you whose work is aligned with our ambition, who believes in what we're doing, let's explore how far we can go together. Thank you so much for coming this morning. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for your insights and also for your ongoing support and enthusiasm. In a previous Expo Live event, you referenced the program, and I apologize, I'm paraphrasing, but you referenced it in relation to 3 fundamental components: innovation, inspiration, and impact. We term these unofficially the 3 I's within our team. These have been the bases of our work, and they remain to be what we stand for. We look forward to build upon the work already done and to spearheading new initiatives. And on that note, I would like to invite a longtime colleague and a dear friend to the stage, Yusuf Kairaz, Executive Director of the Expo City Dubai Foundation, to give us a more in-depth understanding of what we can expect to come from this new establishment.
Thank you, Yasmin, Your Excellencies, dear colleagues and friends. Thank you very much for being here today. It's been my honor to serve as part of the Expo Live program and the greater Expo team for quite some time now. And I have been privileged to work with great people like Yasmin and the Mignons who are here today in creating or turning a promise into an actual instrument, that today we get to give it greater wings and give it a greater or a longer highway to run, and by creating the foundation. I think as for people like me and many of us in the room, we struggle because now we're Expo City. We no longer want to keep talking about the Expo and going back. Her Excellency knows that we keep talking about the great old days of the Expo. But it's so hard, Your Excellency. It's so hard because so much of who we are was formed there. Not only this program, but how we see the world. And so when we think about what we want to do as a foundation, well, we want to do what we did at the Expo. We want to connect people, right? But more than that, we learned that when you connect people with great ideas, that goes some way. It doesn't go all the way. Through the Expo Live program, we learned that if you add resources to that mix, that great triangle of people, ideas, and resources, you go somewhere. It's a step further. And we've learned that over the past 8 years. So that's what we want to do now. We believe that trilogy sounds wrong, but that triangle of people and idea resources, that nothing should stand in its way. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to bridge that gap. We're going to find and break those barriers that allow for ideas and people and resources to find themselves, whether it's here in the UAE or in the greater global south that we aim to target. And make sure that those who are that are focused on finding solutions, or that we find them and they're able to succeed. More importantly, we definitely don't want to do this alone. There's a significant amount of organizations and foundations, nonprofits, and governments who also believe that innovation needs to lead the way. And entrepreneurship is a key part of any nation's economic program, but also innovation. Aspirations towards an innovative economy, entrepreneurship plays a key role. So as a foundation, we're going to bridge the gap between ideas and resources and people so that we can address our most pressing challenges. And we're proud to say that that's not an ambition that it's an aspirational goal. Your Excellency, we've been doing this for some time. With your permission, we want to do this forever. As objectives, right, we want to make sure that we continue and increase our ability to find ideas, to promote creativity, and most importantly, promote entrepreneurship, particularly here in the UAE. Lots of great ideas die young. We think there's a lot that we can do to make sure that we cultivate and promote entrepreneurship as a way of pursuing those ideas. We want to continue to invest and use the resources that we have, not only financial, in impact organizations. As you've seen from the many times in this event already, we truly believe that when you invest in somebody that's doing the right thing, only great things can happen. We want to make sure that we support the ecosystems that we play in, whether it's in the UAE or in our region. We want to make sure that those who are with funds connect with those who need funds, those who write the rules, our understanding of what's needed for the environment. So the ecosystem is a word that people often talk about, and some people don't like it. I'm somewhere in the middle. I think when you use it well, it tells a story that it's never a single player that makes it all work. In that case, the ecosystem works. We want to make sure that we pursue partnerships not only with us, but between others. Later today, you hear from one of our innovators who speak about how they were able to make partnerships within the ecosystem that we've been able to enable. We want to create a repository of solutions. 12,000 startups have told us what they're doing in more than 186 countries. And as of right now, nobody knows about it. We believe in open data. We believe in an open communication policy. Our ambition is to collect those from the past and those ongoing and put them to sharing for the world, so that anyone who needs, as Her Excellency mentioned, a solution that caters to a community and a setting is able to find a solution there. We love and we appreciate the exchange in which the world is connected today, but we very much believe that a grassroots solution leads the way. And we need to make it easy for other organizations to find those solutions. And finally, as a city who loves to convene, well, first of all, I think we do it pretty well. But most importantly is when you do it in a way that it's communities of purpose, people who are aligned, and bringing people together in the same place is powerful. And we want to continue to do that not only for our network of innovators, but those who are supporting the same ecosystem. And as we mentioned before, we're going to keep doing the programs that we've done in the past. And we have two major programs that I want to share with you today. Some of you are already familiar with this, but our Global Innovation Program, this is when we search the world, we scout the world for innovators. This is where we have 12,000 solutions in 92 countries. This is where we believe in this particular niche of social entrepreneurship. This is when somebody finds a very powerful middle point where doing good and making money meet. And that's a great way to summarize what we do. Whenever you find people who are able to, through a commercial model, also provide a positive impact society, that's who we're interested in. These are the ones that we're going to continue to search for. And this is a community that we aim to continue to grow, but also learn more about how they are, as a community, becoming a stronger voice. And I think we have a lot to contribute that. We also have a program that's been running successfully, and we want to continue to devote our attention to the UAE and to the youth in the UAE. For the past years, we have gone to many universities and try to instill and create incentives for students to come together and identify a solution they want to solve. whether it's from engineering or social or health. And we've learned that, I think as a nation, we're not there yet. I don't think we're struggling to get the right level of caliber of our innovation, of our research centers in our universities, as well as the spirit of entrepreneurism. I think we're great at research. We're not great at turning research into actual companies, right? So we want to be able to continue to support this effort, and this is where I need to highlight Her Excellency Najla and the work with Shira, who were very supportive of us in the past. We want to continue to come to you for support as you've led the way in this work for quite some time. We really believe that for the private companies in the UAE that today look elsewhere for R&D and for innovation, there should come a time when their first option is to search in the UAE. And we want to make sure that we do that, that we contribute to that effort. And needless to say, I think for the past 9 years, we've been very much alone in a way that we've maintained a closed approach. We really like we wanted to do. We've been blessed to have our own funding. Wait, is Mukhtar our CFO here? Okay, let me take that part. Take that part out. He's looking at me. What funding? We've been blessed to have those resources. So we've always pushed forward in what we thought was right and what we thought was important. But that doesn't go very far. Right? In order for us to go far and to achieve this vision of a fair and inspiring and sustainable future, we need to work through partnerships. So today, I want to talk to you not necessarily about what I think you guys can help us, but what you can count on us as a partner for. And you can count that as a foundation, we'll continue to leverage all that we have as a city, as an expo, our resources, our ability to find new resources and make sure that they are directed to where they're needed most. We're going to continue to leverage our city as much as we can to make sure that we act as an epicenter, right? As a place where people come together for bringing attention to challenges that need acceleration. Brings me to the point about where we want to look at areas in which there is a shortage of innovation and dedicate a cohort just for that, so that we can accelerate the pace of innovations in particular areas, whether that could be climate change or innovations for people of determination or gender, right? It's about focusing and creating mechanisms that are impactful and accelerate in that same area. And again, you can count on us to always be open about what we learn, what we know, and making sure that we maintain our open data policy. So as partnerships, we are ready to shake new hands and go and walk very far, using Her Excellency's words. And as Her Excellency mentioned, we've been very privileged to have a relationship with the Bill & Melinda Gates Foundation for quite some time. And they're a great example of where we've created a partnership where we are committed financially. We identify startups and we fund them together. But most important is we identified an area that's of mutual interest. The Gates Foundation, particularly their emergency response unit, cares significantly about how do we bring innovations to the humanitarian setting. And we said, well, we have the right mechanism. So as a partnership, we have a mission that's that's pushing for innovation in humanitarian settings, and we have a mechanisms where we talk to each other in a very transparent way of where we put our funds, you put our funds, and where you put our funds, we put our funds. And that has worked for the past 5 to 6 years, and we're grateful to have this partnership with us today. And as another example of something that we wish to discuss here today as a first is a relationship with the Women's Pavilion, this venue that's hosting us today. You see, according to the World Economic Forum, 1 in 5 startups are owned and run by women. But when it comes to social businesses and social enterprises, it's 1 in 2. Something happens that's particular and powerful, that women play an important role in the space that we operate. And in our own portfolio, we see that as representative. as my colleague Yasmin asked you guys, if you look around in the pictures and the portraits around you, you see that we have a significant number of impact entrepreneurs which are women. We don't think that's accidental, and we don't want to treat it as accidental. So with the Women's Pavilion, we want to create a cohort of 100 women impact entrepreneurs from the UAE and around the world, so that they can understand that this place is a place of partnership, is a place of learning, is a place of helping them break the barriers and the challenges that they face, particularly as women-led businesses, and making sure that they also inspire the next generation of women-led entrepreneurs. So we're very excited to work with the Women's Pavilion in pursuing this. And understanding we are keeping ourselves to time, I'm going to close here. And hopefully this has given you a glimpse of what we're trying to do. There's work that we've always done that we want to continue to do. But as a foundation, with the support of the CDA and as a nonprofit, there's so much more that we can now do. There's so many new partnerships that we can now endeavor. And there are greater ambitions that I think will be added to our portfolio as the years go by. So thank you very much for listening, and thank you for coming today.
Thank you very much, Yusuf. I think calling it a glimpse of what we've been working on was very appropriate. As you mentioned in the video we saw earlier, the realm of possibilities seems infinite. And thank you also for emphasizing the two key ships that are key to driving forward viable, long-lasting, scalable change: partnership and entrepreneurship. With those in mind, we move forward to the next item on our agenda, a panel discussion on philanthropy and communities of service, an exploration of how the UAE is becoming a hub for effective giving and social responsibility. Please join me in welcoming our esteemed panelists to the stage: Her Excellency Hissa Abu Hamid, Director General of Dubai's Community Development Authority, and His Excellency Badr Jafar, CEO of Crescent Enterprises and Special Envoy for Business and Philanthropy in the UAE, and of course, our very own Marjan Faraidouni, Chief of Education and Culture at Expo City Dubai, who will be moderating. Thank you.
Thank you, distinguished guests, for coming here to speak to us. And before we delve into it, I'd like to thank everybody for being here. And this morning, we've spoken a lot about the ecosystem, and we've spoken a lot about collaborations. I see here a lot of people who are part of that ecosystem: business community, NGOs, foundations, and many others who've, some are new faces, but some who are part of our journey during Expo. So thank you for being here. So just to contextualize the discussion that we're going to have in the next few minutes, the UAE has emerged as a global leader in philanthropy and charitable giving, reflecting the deep-rooted culture and of tradition of generosity of the nation rooted from our founding father, Sheikh Zayed, His Highness the late Sheikh Zayed bin Sultan Al Nahyan. We, as the UAE, have a strategic approach to philanthropy, spearheaded not only by government entities, but also by the private sector, partnerships, and individual benefactors, which all aim to address critical issues in this sector, such as poverty alleviation, healthcare, education, and we discussed a bit today, disaster relief. This dynamic ecosystem of giving not only enhances the well-being of communities in the UAE, but also extends its impact around the world. And just to give you some context, in 2022 alone, the UAE's foreign aid contribution amounted to 12.7 billion dirhams, just to frame everything. And as we continue to embark on this journey of responsible giving, we're really privileged to be joined by two individuals who are powerhouses in this field, Her Excellency Hissa Bouhmed and His Excellency Badr Jafar, who are going to give their viewpoints around the important elements we need to consider to promote an ecosystem that is favorable to giving. So I'm going to start with you, Your Excellency Hissa. The first question I have for you as the Director General of an important authority, the Community Development Authority in Dubai, which has supported, including the setup of the Expo City Dubai Foundation, multiple organizations in this area. What role do you play with your authority in supporting the continuous growth in giving and social responsibility within the community?
Thank you very much, Marjan, and good morning to everyone. It's a great pleasure to be here, and it's a great honor as well to be to see my dear sister and friend and colleague, Her Excellency Reem, but again, to be back to Expo. So anyone who's outside Expo will always say that. The minute we leave Dubai somehow, and then we just see Expo appearing, we have a smile on our face. Not for, for definitely a great reason, because of all the beautiful memories that we created and the beautiful moments we lived over here. And now, honestly, Marjan, to see this being somehow being materialized in a foundation that will enable this beautiful story to continue. So the government at this point of time comes at a time and at a place to enable, honestly. We have very little to do, I would say, as a government, because we are very lucky to be in the United Arab Emirates, in this country who have lived and believed in philanthropy, in giving, in being generous, in helping the others, in extending their arms. You just mentioned 12-point-something billion is a one-year number of help that the United Arab Emirates have extended outside of the United Arab Emirates. What about our internal community? So in CDA, and we're very lucky, honestly, this year to be witnessing a new decree on a federal level that will support the third, as you say, sector, which is our NGOs and foundations and associations. It will enable them to, bi'idhnillah, as we say, flourish. Just giving you numbers, CDA used to license and run and manage around 132 associations. With this new decree, we will be working directly with more than 600 of them, only in Dubai. And that includes free zones, it includes DIFC, includes everyone who exists for that main reason in Dubai. So that gives more pressure, that gives us more pressure as well to ensure that we are not only enabling what we're supposed to be doing and supporting these associations, but also making sure that we are ahead of the game. And that only can happen with pure, very reliable data. When we have the proper data in hand, we can easily understand what is the next opportunity, how can we enable it, how can we ensure, as our colleague Yusuf? Yeah, Yusuf, good. Alhamdulillah. I'm like, inshallah, Yusuf. So Yusuf was just saying that we need to support those communities around the world, but I would add to that, we need to support it in a timely manner. If we miss an opportunity now, that person behind that idea, in a very short period of time, I mean weeks or months, can actually really lose the enthusiasm, and a new opportunity can appear. And this is only because we are living in a fast world that is, I mean, thank God with AI and all the digital world we're living in, but it also puts more pressure on us. So that's in a nutshell with the first question, and sorry if I took long.
No,
Thanks.
not at all. Well, thank you. In line with your comment on speed, I think this speed is for the right reasons, and we really thank you for the efforts that you and your organization is undertaking to support more of the setup of these organizations. I'll move over to His Excellency Badr, Your Excellency. You are the Special Envoy for Business and Philanthropy, amongst other roles that you have in the UAE. And you have been known to be an advocate of strategic philanthropy. So we'd like to hear from you around, based on the experience and this belief that you have, what are the current trends that you are witnessing within philanthropy in the MENA region?
Assalamu alaikum and good morning to all. So firstly, really just want to congratulate Her Excellency Reem Al-Hashimi and Yusuf and the whole Expo Foundation, Expo City Dubai Foundation for the launch today. Really another incredible milestone and what they have achieved over the years, creating this incredible, not just city, but space and connections and global networks. So many congratulations. As I was reflecting on Her Excellency's words, Her Excellency really does epitomize our nationals, our nation's formal or official or semi-official motto, which is nothing is impossible, right? La shay mustahil. And this is really what drives everything forward, including today's launch. So congratulations, Your Excellency. So just some historical context. Philanthropy obviously is an age-old practice and has been practiced ever since humans gathered in groups. The word itself comes from the Greek roots philo and anthropos, or the love of humanity. The Romans took that and translated it to humanitas, or just humanness, the act of being human. And that's used interchangeably with charity, or caritas, which is Latin for altruistic love. Today, it's synonymous with almsgiving, which is giving to the less fortunate or to the poor, which of course is extremely important. But there is the advent of this new form of giving called strategic philanthropy, which is really being embraced now globally, including in many of the so-called emerging markets, but really the global majority, where the vast majority of the world's population resides and the majority of the world's economy is generated. And the difference, and this is not necessarily something that's better, but it's a difference in both the philosophy and the approach and practice. And the difference with strategic philanthropy is that it is evidence-based and that it uses diligent planning, execution, and follow-through to ensure the intended results. And as exciting as I think that is, and perhaps that sounds, the reality is today, philanthropy is still, as I often refer to it, as being the forgotten child of the capital system. It's often seen as a periphery player, and in many parts of the world regarded with a high degree of suspicion. The reality is, just from a quantum perspective, philanthropy, or philanthropy overall, including, of course, almsgiving, is disbursed in trillions of dollars a year. Estimates are between $1 trillion to $2 trillion a year. Just taking Islamic almsgiving, between zakat, which many of you will know is one of the 5 pillars of Islam, or compulsory almsgiving, and sadaqah, or discretionary almsgiving, anywhere between $400 billion to $1 trillion a year. Now, at the $1 trillion mark, which is the lower end of the total estimate, that's more than 5 times official development assistance, or ODA, which is sort of giving by governments internationally. So it's a big sum, but the more exciting aspect of it is not the quantity, it's the quality of this giving, which can be more patient. The capital itself can be more patient capital, can be more risk tolerant, can be more equitable in its deployment. And that's what I think makes it very powerful when deployed in partnership with business capital and government capital that helps to create and generate that multiplier effect on impact. Now, there are a number of very exciting things happening that I think are going to see that accelerate and really, I think, become mainstream. And there are a few, I'll name 3. One is the wealth transition, the very significant wealth transition that we're seeing happening around the world. They estimate $60 trillion of wealth is going to transfer from one generation to the next within the coming couple of decades. In Asia alone, it's north of $20 trillion. And that's going and feeding into the second point, to today's youth. And today's youth have, and I'm not speaking on behalf of youth, unfortunately, but data shows that today's youth have many more expectations on their giving. So they want to be more connected to their giving. They have more expectations on governance, on transparency, on accountability. They want to be more engaged, involved, on being able to measure the impact and seeing and feeling and touching the results of their giving. And when you combine that with the advent of technologies, which in many cases is shifting philanthropy from a one-to-many model, the traditional model where you have a very wealthy individual giving to many individual beneficiaries, you now have with technology a many-to-one model where people can come together seamlessly online and give relatively small amounts of money and pool them together as large sums to either a single beneficiary or many different beneficiaries. So it's incredibly empowering. And then when you pile onto that things like AI, when we're talking about, as Yusuf was mentioned, data both analysis, but also dissemination and helping to guide better practices, including through philanthropy, it can be extremely exciting. And I think when you combine those three trends, the UAE is uniquely placed, genuinely uniquely placed to bring all those three things together. It has not just the incredible credibility to bring different voices together from across the world, north, south, east, west, but also the multi-stakeholder efforts, and understands and appreciates the multi-stakeholder imperative, including on this panel today, bringing together government, the private sector, and civil society to make sure that we can combine our strengths and leverage our strengths to be greater than the sum of our parts. So I think it's incredibly exciting. No city within the UAE like Expo City epitomizes again and represents, I think, that opportunity, which I think, which is why today I think is such an important development and milestone. So congratulations once again.
Thank you, Your Excellency, Badr. And it's very clear that the opportunity is there. And also listening to what you outlined at the beginning, Your Excellency Hissa, you did mention that you are under a lot of pressure to meet that demand. So, and in the world of giving and philanthropy, there is a fine line of balancing regulations and a system that allows for effective delivery. So what are the kind of things you could share with us that you are doing at the CDA to ensure that we have the right regulations in place, but one that allows us to still deliver on what it is that we want to do?
Very, very good and very important question. Us being here in Dubai and the United Arab Emirates gives us no other option than to be as flexible as water. And honestly, without being, I mean, with this description, you can really miss a lot of opportunities. And I just want to give you a few examples on that. Back in 2020 and late 2019, when COVID hit, without the work that have happened on the ground with more than a big number of associations, we were not able to really capitalize on the efforts, first of all, but also to reach to all these people. And again, it was, we had to be as quick as possible, and we had to be as flexible as possible to accept that. But I mean, that's a few years back. But I mean, let's just look a few weeks or even a month ago, when the rain hit, and everyone over here who was in Dubai have felt those very heavy drops of rain that shocked all of us. So we ended up in less than 24 hours what to do. Everything is in system, and we thought, and we still think in Dubai and the United Arab Emirates, that we're always ahead of the game. Well, guess what? Nature have had another plan for us. And that morning, on the 17th of April, when everything had to really, we just had to think with no box what to do right now. Let's act. We've got an hour to get back to the bosses. And guess what? We have reached out to more than 25 associations who were ready to help and jump in terms of evacuations. And I mean, and I say this proudly, honestly. We know that we're the government. We know that we've got everything on, set and ready, and we've got the budgets. But at one point of time, you really need to help. You need the help of others. So more than 25 associations have helped and jumped in, either with food supply, evacuations, getting people from here to there. Even we saw the famous clip of the cat that have been saved by and went viral around the world. But that's just to show you how much we need each other, how much the communities, the people in this community need to work together. We are blessed to have all these nationalities working and living, and chose Dubai to be their first and second home. So let's make out the most out of it. And lucky enough, I mean, I think we're blessed. We're always blessed, subhanAllah. And I think we were very blessed in Dubai this year to have launched our platform, Jude. Jude is an interactive platform that was launched mid-Ramadan. We didn't see this coming, and then at that time we didn't know the plans of His Highness as well. So His Highness on top of Jude have launched the Waqf al the mother's endowment, and there we were ready to capitalize and ensure that people and as simple as 10 dirhams is accepted, at the same time as a 10 million donor that would give and would want to help. And we would want everyone to be so proud of this donation, even if it was a kid in grade 10, probably, I mean, a kid at grade 5, for example, with his 10 dirhams saving, he or she can participate. But at the same time, this person, exactly as Badr was saying, and especially with our youth, they would want to see, where is my money going? And that's what Jude provides right now: transparency, credibility, and effectiveness. And that's very, very important at this point of time.
Thank you for that. And it's really heartening to hear that you are working on efforts that allows every member of the community to be part of giving in the community. And that segues very well into the next question I have for you, Your Excellency, Badr. And that is around, you often stress the importance of the philanthropic infrastructure and networks in driving strategic philanthropy. Can you talk to us more about this, and also about the centers that you have set up around the world to give all of us here an example of how that could benefit the community?
So to use an analogy, the sort of giving fish and teaching to fish, the aspect that I've become very interested in is the providing better tools for fishing. So making sure that we have that enabling environment, which is really everything that we're doing here today. And that can be different things in different places, but fundamentally, it's making sure that we have a strong regulatory environment for a sector to thrive and for individuals and social innovators to thrive. It's important that we have education networks so we can share best practices, share experiences. It's important that we have data repositories so that we're not making the same mistakes that our predecessors did. And again, learning through iteration. It's important, of course, that we have better donor networks so donors themselves can find at least opportunities to collaborate with one another. Whether they choose to or not is something else, but at least provide those opportunities. These are all, I think, fundamental for a thriving community of giving. And this is something that I think we are building very solidly here in the UAE. And it can, again, only be a multi-stakeholder approach. So that's something that I've been very keen on doing. One aspect of that, these centers that you mentioned, are based in educational centers of excellence. So the first was at the University of Cambridge in the UK, and one here in the UAE at NYU in Abu Dhabi, and then one, inshallah, in the coming months to be launched in Sub-Saharan Africa, and then one in Asia. And they all have three main tracks: research, which again, as we've discussed, and again, Yusuf talked about, which is understanding the past, present, and future through data. What's been happening, what is happening today, and how can we be masters of our own future, as it were? How can we use that data to help to inform better practice going forward? And that's very important. And building a repository of stories there is incredibly important, which is also where media comes in, very importantly. The second aspect is convening. Again, no better example of that than Expo City, but bringing different voices together to have conversations as we're having today. And the third is the education and training component, finding ways to pass on and, of course, gather knowledge, but also pass on knowledge to a community who are interested in learning and finding better tools, including with technology, to deploy philanthropy better. So these are a few examples of what I think these centers are doing. Educational centers of excellence, because they in themselves can be great learning communities, obviously, but the good ones are the ones that are in touch with innovation, such as entities like Shara. And the general philosophy we have here in the UAE is making sure that we are connecting the dots wherever we possibly can. So I think it's exciting, and everything I saw Yusuf present on the screen again represents all of those. So once again, I can't under or overstate how unique an opportunity we have in the UAE to help to move this field forward. And to bring together these different communities of giving, not because we're trying to create some homogeneous community and just blend everything together. On the contrary, we want to build on each other's experience and strengths, but we also want to find ways to empower. And that's something that I think is very well represented by the foundation itself.
Thank you. We're coming to the end of our panel, so I'd like to, in my very humble way, summarize what we've discussed between the both of you around the importance and of having a community that allows for effective giving, and the need for collaborations and partnerships and education. And to end, I wanted to give you each the opportunity to share final thoughts about whether it's the Expo City Foundation, but more importantly, the role that the UAE can play in being a hub for philanthropy.
And I'll try to make this as quick as possible. I think we're witnessing a beautiful future going ahead. With this foundation, I believe it is an addition, it's an asset to what Dubai already have. I think through it, we will be working closely with increasing our partnership. I believe we have a huge chore to do, I would say, us as CDA, to bringing people together. I'd love to see more of people sitting in such setup, talking and discussing, and just to build on the success that have happened. And second would be utilizing the amount and wealth of information we have right now to really bring the future in and not wait for it. That's in a nutshell, and I wish you all the best of luck. Thank you.
So not much more to add other than, again, to wish everybody on the team the greatest of success, but also to really a sort of call to everybody to get involved, because this can only be done as a community if we all come together, and every single one of us has an important role to play in this journey. So again, بالتوفيق, with the greatest of success, and again, thank you so much for hosting us here today, and a big congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Marjan, for leading us through a really engaging discussion. And thank you once again, Your Excellencies, for your valuable views and perspectives, but also for your humility. I think this reaffirms that our ambitions and that there's no better place to found this foundation than right here in the UAE and right now. So we've heard from the leadership of the Expo City Dubai Foundation. We've heard from our esteemed guests on their views and the industry around philanthropy and the nexus with business. And now we want to turn somewhat inwards. If you manage to take a glance at our photo wall, you may have noticed a particular individual wearing a bold red suit. We thought this image was an accurate reflection of our next speaker, Thea Mervold. As she stands out in the photo, she too stands out for her boldness in our community of global innovators. Thea is the CEO and founder of GetB and one of our long-standing global innovators. Thea, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much for having me here today. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. A quick overview of who I am, and I'll be very honored and humbled to share my story. My name is Thea. I'm the proud founder and CEO of GetB, but I think it's worth mentioning, since we're here today at the Women's Pavilion, some of the key achievements that we've done throughout this journey. Proud to say, also among the part of the 2% of women who have also raised US VC funding, and that visibility was also very grateful and thanks to Expo 2020. But let's start from the very beginning and my journey. 3 flags you usually don't see together on a slide, but I am born in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, to an Arab mother and a Norwegian father. So this perspective has also shaped my journey throughout everything that I've built. I'm born in Saudi Arabia and grew up there, but I moved to Norway during my school time. And I moved to Norway, interestingly enough, right after 9/11. Why is this important? We mentioned this earlier as well, changing the narrative. I moved after 9/11 and reflecting a lot on, in the media, what it meant to be Arab, what it meant to be from the Middle East, and importantly, what it also meant to be Muslim. Those were interesting questions that were reflected a lot during my journey as well. But when coming back to build my businesses, I could not think of a better place to come than back to Dubai, back to the Middle East, to be a part of changing that narrative and that story, to showcase that you could have global innovation from anywhere to everywhere, and global success stories for and from the Middle East. When I was studying in Switzerland, because my goal then was to work at the United Nations, that was the only way that I thought I could make an impact, I started teaching 2 students. One had ADD and one had dyslexia, and they were both predicted to fail their exams. Now, I had no background in technology, I had no goal working in entrepreneurship, but I saw a spark. I saw a spark in my students, and I saw the difference that the games that I was creating for my students made. And I decided to take that game and to translate that into a digital experience and taught myself everything I could about apps. And I fell in love with the power and distribution of technology. I went on to build one of the first apps for high school students back in 2012, if we can remember when apps were still new. And it was interesting to see that power and distribution of technology truly take shape. It inspired me and led me to lead one of the first global truly marketplaces for live and on-demand learning, called teachmenow.com, the project that was featured here at Expo. Our first class was by a professor in Venezuela teaching a student in Saudi Arabia, and we saw global connections ever since. And that was fascinating to me, again in the theme of connecting minds and creating the future. On the one side, we were making learning accessible and creating jobs. And it was really empowering to see how this global community started taking shape. This photo was back in 2018, and little did I know then that this would change my life. Connecting to all of these amazing global innovators, over 190 different voices and people, was truly not just inspiring, but motivating on many different levels. The journey for us started with Teach Me Now, again connecting teachers and students truly around the world. But it was interesting because in this group of people, I got to hear the story of somebody else, another innovator. And he was referenced earlier here today. The story of Gabriel. Now, Gabriel is based in Argentina, and during his presentation, during this day, I got to learn that over 50% of disabilities happen later in adult life, either through injury or illness or otherwise. So finding meaningful and inclusive work was very important. Now, I'll share more about why that story is relevant in a moment. But again, this encapsulates why connecting minds and creating that community was truly important. Hearing each other's stories was not just motivating, but it inspired us to think about how we could work together, how we could collaborate. And again, on the topic of alignment, of vision and values, these are a group of people who are truly seeing challenges as opportunities, but also combining profit and purpose. COVID was an unexpected challenge that affected everyone. And luckily for us, because we were on the side of digital transformation, we saw a massive opportunity in growth in helping people take what they were doing offline into an online experience. Now, going back to the story of Gabrielle, we started collaborating and thinking, okay, how can we take the skills and the knowledge of all of the people in your network to support and mentor all of the people that need accessibility and support? So thanks to the Expo Live team and the Expo 2020 leadership, we were able to also collaborate with Accenture to also support that kind of mentorship, learning, and continuous opportunities to find work. Especially after COVID, this was important more than ever. Through the Expo Live team as well, we were able to position our software and our technology to support other global initiatives. One that you might recognize here in Dubai, in the UAE, was also His Highness's 1 Million Arab Coders program, where we connected mentors and coders from all over the Middle East and the Arab world to support that online learning initiative. And it's important to mention, since we're here at the Women's Pavilion, we were also able to support another initiative in Latin America called Mujeres en Acción, Women in Action, a platform that supported women coming out of difficult situations with lawyers, mentors, and therapists. Again, all accelerated thanks to COVID. One of the key learnings and takeaways I hope that you'll all take from today is something that I learned during my time with the Expo Live community. And a guiding North Star that drives me is, does this make you proud? And I have to say, I've never been more proud than working with the Expo Live team. You've truly changed so many lives of so many people. And it's been, sorry that I'm getting emotional, but it's been an absolute honor and a pleasure. I am one of 190 stories, unique, inspiring, empowered stories. I encourage all of you to look at all of these different projects, talk to these innovators, and if there is a way that you can empower, collaborate, or support, please do reach out. Incredible group of people that I'm very proud to work with. As someone said during one of these days, it's easy to quit a job, but it's really hard to quit a mission. That stuck with me. These are all people who are extremely mission-driven, and I'm very proud to work with them. So as a great, thank you. So on behalf of all the Expo Live global innovators, it's with a big gratitude that we thank the Expo 2020 leadership and the Expo Live team. And it's a big gratitude for me as well to thank all of the global innovators for all of your inspiration. Thank you, shukran, tak, merci. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Thea. For those that are new to our program or new to our events, it's not usually the case that we leave here with without someone reaching the point of tears, so please expect that in future events. It's going to be very difficult to bring this event to a close following suit from Thea and the speakers before, but I'll do my best to follow in their lead. Thank you, Thea, for taking us through your personal journey and for combining passion with purpose and also profit, and for validating and vouching for our work, for what we do, and for why we do what we do. I want to take a moment to hone in on one aspect of your presentation, which is the part where you highlighted that challenges equal opportunities. Ladies and gentlemen, we're in a moment in time where more than ever before, we are inundated with information about the many diverse challenges faced by the world near and far. From climate crises to geopolitical crises, nearly not a day, and these days not a moment goes by where we're not sensitized or aware of the issues at hand. It's common to feel overwhelmed, powerless, and like we can't make a dent. We can think to ourselves, how can we affect one person or one cat? But then there are people like Thea, like the faces that you see on the wall, like Salma, who Her Excellency mentioned earlier, who's also up on our wall, like Gabrielle, like one of our more recent projects, Imam Hamawi, who's providing dignified remote working opportunities to tech talent in Palestine, These people don't and can't sit idle in the wake of such challenges. They are compelled to move forward, to act and to do more in connection to the issue, as you mentioned, Your Excellency Badr. Almost 200 visionary innovators have not just impacted one person or one cat, they've impacted almost 6 million people and have paved the way for how we live and interact in harmony with our planet. They are beacons of hope. Taya, you asked, does this make me proud? I think if we had more time, the Expo Live team could go, or the Expo City Foundation team, I should say, could go on and on about how proud we are for our community and for having the backing of so many partners. We believe that in order to thrive, we need to work together. And as I stand here today facing the audience, I see so many people who have been instrumental in our journey and in us reaching where we are today. From government officials who we lean on regularly, on some days multiple times a day, to navigate us through our processes, to private sector champions, supporters, enthusiasts, to current and previous Expo Live team members, we don't cut the cord very easily, to our recurrent support team and event volunteers who jump at the chance to join us for numerous events. We could not have achieved this success and impact alone, nor do we intend to embark on this next big exciting chapter in Asylum. So if we want to move fast, we can move alone, but if we want to go far, we ought to move together. And with that, we close the event, and we welcome you to continue these discussions. Thank you very much.
Follow me, one voice, one family. The world as it stands in the palm of our hands, it's our time. Oh.